everybody, back again with another video. Hope you're doing well. Hope your life's going well. Hope this week has gone well for you, and hope that today has gone well for you. Today is October the 9th, 2024. It's about 7:45 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I hope that you all are doing well. Hope that you had a wonderful Wednesday. I hope it's been a productive and non-stressful Wednesday for you. As for me, myself, I'm doing good. I went to work today, had a pretty normal day, but man, over the past few days, I've really been affected by allergies, and so it's been rough with the allergies. And then I developed like a slight fever a couple of days ago. I mean, the fever is gone now, but the allergies, it's just been constant for me. And so with allergies, it's pretty difficult to make an ASMR video with allergies, and so yeah. But here I am, because my allergies are not really affecting me as much now. But man, yesterday, man, it was bad. But I want to talk about, well, we're gonna get into self-checkout, 3 problems that self-checkout has in general, and we'll get into that. But before I do that, I do want to address a couple of the comments that I got in that Donald Trump video, where I talked about why I think that Donald Trump is going to be the next president of the United States of America. And so like I said in the video, it was just what I think is going to happen. I'm not a supporter of either candidate, but a couple of the comments that I got, and also in general, man, I got some bad comments, man. There were some I had to delete because they were just too disrespectful, and I don't tolerate disrespect, and so I had to delete some of the comments. But most of the comments I was able to leave up. But in general, I got a few comments basically saying that I should care because it's going to affect a lot of people, right? And so my thing with that is, it really doesn't matter who's in office. Someone is going to be positively affected by their presidency, and someone is going to be negatively affected by their presidency, whether they're here in the United States or whether they're somewhere across the globe, overseas. Someone is going to be positively affected, and someone is going to be negatively affected, right? And so, yeah. Now, who's going to be negatively affected might be different based on whether there's a Democrat or Republican in office. But nevertheless, someone in the world is going to be negatively affected by Democratic policies, and someone's going to be negatively affected by Republican policies, right? And then also someone's going to be positively affected by Democratic policies, and someone's going to be positively affected by Republican policies. It's just, like I say, who is going to be negatively and positively affected is going to be based on whether there's a Democrat in office or a Republican in office. Remember, left wing, right wing, it's the same bird, right? So yeah. Um I also got a few comments saying that it was selfish that I said that it doesn't matter because I'm gonna be good no matter what. I said that because I was trying to drive home the point that I don't let politicians have that kind of power over me. That's all I was basically saying. In that me, myself, I am the person who is going to dictate whether I'm successful or not successful in life, right? I'm not going to give that kind of power to somebody else, right? Um, that's just basically what I was saying. Um, and let's just say, yeah, okay, we can make the argument that that's selfish. Well, there's other ways that you can affect society positively outside of voting for a politician, right? You don't have to vote to make an impact on society or to be a selfless person in society, right? And so that's basically all I was saying. But yeah, I just thought I'd address a couple of those. I don't know. I didn't think that video would get that many like negative comments, but I got plenty of them. And so I just thought I'd address a couple of the main ones that I saw like over and over. And so, yeah. Well, there you go. And remember, at the end of the day, it's just my opinion. And it's just a video at the end of the day. It's just me talking, giving my opinion. Once again, not supporting either candidate, but just giving my opinion on what I think is going to happen. That's all I was doing, y'all. That is all I was doing. But let's talk about self-checkout and the main problems that I have with self-checkout. So with self-checkout, we're seeing that self-checkout is becoming very, very popular. It's definitely become very popular over the last decade as companies look to downsize and look to implement more technology, right, in place of like actual people. So they're, putting in these self-checkout machines. They're they're using less and less cashiers, right, and using more and more self-checkouts. And so we know that this is being done to minimize cost to the business, because we know that a self-checkout overall is going to be less expensive than hiring a cashier. And so that's why businesses do this, right? But 3 main problems. First problem is self-checkout. You're basically doing the job of a cashier. A cashier scans your groceries. A cashier bags your groceries, right? And they pretty much, do the whole transaction. Well, you have to pay obviously, but outside of that, they're scanning your items and bagging your items and stuff like that. And so now that responsibility is on you when it wasn't on you when there was a cashier available. And so that's the thing about self-checkout that many people don't like. And and even me, when I'm using self-checkout, I'll sometimes think about the fact that I'm really doing the job of a cashier, but I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm basically my own cashier, scanning the groceries, bagging my own groceries, putting them in my cart and all that. I'm my own cashier, basically. And so companies realize people are okay with being their own cashier. And so you see these companies, especially like Walmart, they put in lots and lots of self-checkout registers, and you see that they don't utilize a lot of cashiers in the front. At their checkout area, you're only gonna see like 1-2 cashiers at a time. Well, based on the store. I mean, if it's really busy, you're gonna see more. But many times I'll go into a Walmart and I might see like maybe at the most like 3 or 4 cashiers, and then everyone else is just lined up at the self-checkout. And then I do notice more often than not, there's more people lined up at the self-checkout than there is at the at a cashier's line. And I mean, I kind of get why, because the self-checkout line will probably move a bit faster than a cashier's line overall, because as station, as self-checkout registers become available, the line is just going to keep moving, right? It's going to move faster than like a actual cashier's line. And so that's why you see more people do it. But this is something that's being implemented. And so, you're basically doing the job of a cashier, right? And companies realize they don't have to pay cashiers. People are willing to be their own cashier. So why do we have to pay cashiers, right? When we can just install a self-checkout station. That's the thing about it, right? And so that's the first problem with it. Second problem is, in general, people are gonna be slower than a cashier, right? A cashier, they know how to scan items fast. They know all of the those numbers for like the produce and the vegetables and stuff like that. They know all of those numbers off the top of their head and everything. And people in general are just going to be slower. And when they go to a self-checkout station, you will see many people that literally take forever to scan their items, right? And then many times they're going to have a crazy huge basket, which is going to hold up the line. It's going to basically make the self-checkout line go slower because, and then sometimes there's multiple people that are just taking forever at these self-checkouts, and it's just kind of holding up the line, which is why there are some stores that limit the amount of items that you can actually, like if your basket has you know, more than 10 items, they're not going to allow you to go through self checkout. Although some stores, they don't really like enforce that very strictly, but there are some stores. I know HEB. They do like have that thing where it's like really you're not supposed to like go through the self checkout if you have more than 10 items. And so that's done so that you don't have like one person holding up one of the self checkouts with like 50 or 60 items, and they're basically just holding up this, you know, self checkout register. And then think about it, you know, the issue would be if there was like 4 or 5 people at self checkouts and they all have like 60 or 70 items, and the line is just getting, you know, backed up and backed up because you got people in the self checkout with like 60 items. And then you know, on top of that, they're going like really slow, right? And that's just the reality of it. You know, people just, they're not fast like a cashier can be, right? And that's, I mean, if we're being honest, that's one of the other problems with self checkout. And then the third problem with self checkout is theft. Yeah, you know, self checkout theft is a problem in pretty much any store that has self checkout. There's always going to be people that that steal in the self checkout lane, right? They intentionally like won't scan items, or they'll you know, switch barcodes and stuff like that to get a cheaper price on something. And there's just always going to be people that are not doing the right thing. And with self checkout, because there's not someone actually scanning the groceries for them and they're scanning their own groceries, of course you're going to have people that try to get away with not scanning everything. Like that's, and you know, stores that have all these self checkouts, they understand that this is going to happen. And so I'm pretty sure they take that into consideration before they install these self checkouts. But that is a pretty big problem with self checkouts, right? And usually, of course, you'll have one person there kind of like watching all the self checkouts and everything, you know, helping people at the self checkouts. But they can't watch all of those self checkouts all at one time. And so, you know, that's kind of the unfortunate reality about self checkouts is the fact that people are going to steal, the theft that happens in these self checkout lanes, right? And they have things that deter people. I know at Walmart, some Walmarts have the little thing where it's like you look up and you see a camera like in your face at the self checkout, and it's literally showing the screen of you being recorded at the self checkout. You know, things like that that are meant to like deter you from like stealing, right? But some people don't care. They'll literally see that camera still like steal. And so that, you know, that's a huge problem with self checkout. So 3 problems with self checkout is you're basically doing someone else's job. You're doing a cashier's job, right? And then you have people, you know, second problem is people in general. They're going to be slower than a cashier. People going too slow, right? And so the lines get held up, right? And the third problem is the theft. And so those are three problems with self-checkout. And am I gonna lie and act like I only go through cashier's lines and I never use a self-checkout? No, I use self-checkout. Yes, I do. I use self-checkout. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you and act like I don't use self-checkout, but I do understand and acknowledge the problems that come with this technology. And that's just what it is. And so, yeah. Anyway, I do thank you all for watching. I hope that you are relaxed as well. Thanks.